How's that? Hello, everybody. Let me see if I can get in the picture. Hi, everybody. This is Inspector Brooke Garrett. She so kindly comes to speak with us. She's from SWEEP, the Solid Waste Education and Enforcement. Is that a program? Yes. Program. Yes. And so please, I don't know what you want to talk about, Inspector, you know best, but, and then we'll all ask questions. And thank you for coming, everybody. I'm not a great talker here, but,
Please.
To make sure you speak up.
Oh, make sure I speak
okay.
correctly, I can. Hello, everyone. As she said, I am the inspector who is assigned to this area of Ward 5. I'm happy to be here. I really would like to hear what you all have to say, what issues you may have. Because my job is to educate the public and change the quality of life in the community the best of my ability. And whatever I can do to assist, I've been working with both Commissioner Anna and Commissioner Salvador. I was actually reassigned to Ward 5 a year ago, March. So it was a lot, coming back to Ward 5 with so much going on. And I know the ward very well. So it wasn't hard for me to get back into the swing of things. So I am here to do whatever I can to help you. So whatever you need, if I can't do it, I will put you where it can get done. So if there's anything that anybody has, would like to say or ask me, would be great.
What is it exactly that your department does?
SWEEP stands for Solid Waste Education and Enforcement. The first E is to educate. The second E is the enforcement. We try to get out and educate the residents of the community before we issue a fine. If it's something that we think we can do, we'll give you the education you need to show what you need to do to bring you into compliance. Then we will come back and do a re-inspection. And if you're not in compliance, of course, you will get a notice of violation. You can always appeal it. We always ask if you would like to admit with an explanation, or if you say you didn't do this, you can explain how it happened, where it came from, if you know. And we do what we call walkthroughs. We'll come into your community with the commissioners, with MPD and all other agencies, and we'll come out together so each one of us can pick out what it is that we need to do to assist you.
Does illegal dumping in the alley come under you?
Yes, it comes under my division suite. We have an environmental crimes unit which handles the illegal dumping in the area. Cameras are placed, they do surveillances. We have right now we just had 3 investigators, so they cover the entire city. But they work, yes, but they all 8 wards, and they work close with MPD because illegal dumping can be a crime. It depends on if it comes out of a vehicle, that's a crime. So, and they issue fines from anywhere from 5,000 up. And sometimes they can find the ID out of the material that was actually dumped. That's how they issue the fines, a tag number. If you see it, you don't have to give your name. You can report the tag number of the vehicle that the dumping that you think it may have come out of, and they will investigate it. And it has been quite a bit of illegal dumping in Trinidad area, quite a bit. Yeah.
So I'm gonna, sorry. I'm gonna ask a lot of questions that I tend to know the information on, but just for the record, so everyone gets the benefit from that information. When it comes to illegal dumping per se, as we were discussing, what's the typical avenue of finding resolution in that? And is it dependent on having accurate information on who committed the illegal dumping?
Yes, having the accurate information helps because we can get these folks off the street. As far as, because they don't just dump in one particular area. They'll look for areas that have dumping and they'll continue to dump. Then they'll find another area that has dumping and they'll dump there. Tires is pretty big. So you want to report it. You don't have to give your name, just call, the 311 and report it. You saw illegal dumping in this area. And sometimes folks confuse illegal dumping. Illegal dumping is really something major. But if someone puts out a couple of mattresses or some furniture, it can be done, but most of the time it'll come from the residents right in your community decided to clean out their apartment. Does that answer your question?
Another question, we had some residents in Ward 5 that got fined for excessive grass or too much vegetation on their property. Typically, how does that occur in terms of them getting that fine? Is it through DOB? Is it through DPW? Who's engaging on that kind of, nuisance? In a neighborhood?
Mostly, it can be DOB, but SWEEP has a notice of violation. I don't know the exact 21 DCMR, but it's called public parking, and people confuse it. Public parking deals with the landscaping from the sidewalk back to your property line. And if that gets overgrown and looks like it needs to be addressed, a fine for that can be issued. And when I issue those particular fines, well, we all have to, when we issue particular fines, we have to explain exactly what that fine means, what you did that was wrong in the notes. We have to put notes in it so you'll understand what this violation was all about.
And in terms of those kind of violations, is there opportunity or space? I know you mentioned appeal earlier, but is there opportunity or space to get that the fines reversed or abate the situation? For example, like this landscaping matter, can a resident cut the grass or fix whatever violation was found and not have to be fined? Or
well, once the fine is issued, that's where the appeal comes in. Sometimes you can file for a hearing. You come into the office of the, well, most of our hearings now since the pandemic, we have them on the phone, so it's easier for folks. So you come in, you explain your situation. Sometimes you can admit with an explanation, and then the judge may decide to dismiss it, or the judge may decide to reduce it, whatever that fine is. So there may be a reduction in the fine.
And I know you've been doing this for a very long time. What are the typical violations that you see in our neighborhood? And do you happen to know the cost of those fines?
Most of the fines that I see in Trinidad are rat harborage conditions. Mostly it's rat harborage, and it's dealing with improper storage because it goes on a commercial basis. The residential fines are less than the commercial fines. They're a little more expensive. But most of the fines is improper storage of trash. Folks decide they want to use plastic bags. They don't want to put them inside the trash can. That's illegal. Your bag should always be inside of the can. If you don't have enough cans, then you need to obtain another can, and we can ask you to do that or force you to do it. On a commercial property, say for instance, you may have one dumpster. I may ride by and you have overflowing trash, or your dumpster is not closed tightly. I can ask you to add another day to your collection week, or I can ask you to obtain another solid waste container and recycling container, so that it won't be on the ground, because it definitely attracts rodents.
And can you remind us how the public containers work in terms of buildings having to have them or not?
You mean commercial properties having containers?
Residential properties.
Residential properties should have the cans that the district government provides. You can't go to Home Depot. Those cans will not fit on the trucks properly, and they can't lift them because Ward 5 only has the 96 gallons. So they have to be able to fit on the lift. So you go into Lowe's or Home Depot purchasing those type cans, they're not going to fit on the truck. So they have to put them on the lift, because they can't lift up a certain amount of weight, and they have to be able to roll it to the hopper and let that lift it and dump it like that. So they have to be from the District of Columbia.
And the district provides one to each resident, or I'm a tenant, so I'm not too familiar particularly with.
No, you're fine. They provide, well, you have to I'm not sure, because I'm not with collections, but I think you have to pay for your can in the beginning. I don't know, I don't think they assign it to you free for the first round. But what we do have is a rat replacement program. Now, if you complain that you have the rat, or it's, you know, because they can eat through it, and you may have holes in your container. You put it in 311 and explain that in 311, and we call that what we call the rat replacement. The inspector will go out and do an inspection of the can. You have to give the number now, but we have to make sure that can is assigned to the resident. And we will come out and do an inspection and say, oh yeah, this can needs to be replaced, and they replace it free of charge,
Okay. And in terms of residents,
along with your recycling percent.
thank you. In terms of residents, maybe addressing concerns with commercial properties or properties that have more than 4 units. How do we address that to DPW if they're not handling collection for us?
Okay, you know, we collect up to 3 unit buildings. Anything over 3 units, they have to have a private hauler. And the inspector will come out, do an inspection. What I do, I come out, I kind of look around, and I can tell if they have a hauler or not. After you do it for a while, you can tell they don't have a hauler. So they can get a fine for not having a hauler. They can also get a fine for improper storage because they have nowhere to store the trash. It's being stored in plastic bags on the ground, and that's illegal.
So is that a collaboration with part of the building?
No, that's with us.
So who would you be finding?
I will be finding the property owner.
Okay, so you.
Yeah, and all of our notices of violations are property based.
Okay.
So everything goes to the owner. If it's, you know, something dealing with the property, whoever owns that property, it doesn't matter if they have tenants there that's doing it, it still goes back to the property owner. And they have to deal with their tenants. Everybody's responsible. But when we pull it up and we use the property detail from the tax office, that's where we get all of our information, because it's property based. So everything has to come from the tax office, and that is used as evidence to go to court as part of the exhibit.
So some of these some of these violations you do take to court.
They take us to court. Yeah, they will appeal it. If I issue, say you own a commercial building, and I issue you a property violation, and you say, well, this is not my property, or the tenant did it, or you just want to explain it. You even have a right to explain it. You have a right to, what do they call it? You admit with an explanation. You're admitting it, but you're saying, you know, my tenants did this, I wasn't aware of it. I've done this, I've done that. And you as an inspector, if you know your footprint, because we all are assigned certain footprints, and you learn your footprint, you know your folks in your footprint. So you kind of know what properties are problem properties after, you know, doing it for a while.
What would you call a problem property inspector?
A problem property is like the property that we discussed. That's a problem. So that's somewhere where I would go every week. That would be on my radar to go every week. When you had the issues on Sims Place, I was at Sims Place like almost every day until we pretty much got it under control, because, you know, they had to bring the collection to the front. That took work.
It's still good.
And it's still taking work because of it being closed in the way it is, and that person on the end owning that property, that extended out. So, but we know, and those are considered our hot spots. So we continuously go to those spots to try to, you know, change it. You know, and my goal is to always try to bring a solution. I'll try to talk with people, I'll try to work with people, I'll connect with them, and do everything I possibly can to get you to come into compliance and want to.
How has been your work been lately with vacant and blighted properties? Here in Trinidad, sometimes they attract bad actors, sometimes they just attract the quiet squatters. Out of your experience in our neighborhood, what have you been seeing and with these type of properties?
Well, those type of properties, we have to forward those over to the Department of Buildings. And we kind of work together, you know, with that. If I see something, I'll just, you know, forward it to them. But we can still write a fine, because if it has rat harvest condition, the inspector, we can do our part, you know, with that. But most of the time vacant properties are to go to DOB because they have a vacant property unit.
Cool.
And we kind of work well together. Anything else?
How large do the holes have to be in the cans to report it?
Doesn't matter, just
Doesn't
report,
matter.
just report it.
Okay,
That's all I need you to do, is to report it.
will do.
You report it and I will take care of it.
And you don't have to pay for it?
No, they're gonna replace it. Now, I can't tell you how long it'll take, because, you know, as soon as this can come in, they're allotted out to everyone, so sometimes it can take a while, but you just, you know, keep that service request number. That service request number is what you need to show that you did report it. And you have record of me coming out to do the inspection, because everything I do is in my tab, and you can see it. Yeah.
I had a quick question on street sweeping, for the record. Sometimes I think, I know street sweeping is only seasonal between March and October, correct?
Yes, it is October 31st.
Yes, so, sometimes during the street sweeping season, we have moments where the street sweeper either misses a block or isn't able to properly handle a block because of cars blocking access to clean. At the same time, sometimes we have residents that, will do the neighborhood a favor and clean the sidewalk, but they push everything into the street. What is your recommendation on handling those kind of situations when it comes to street sweeping?
Those kind of situations, I wouldn't recommend anyone to push anything into the street. You have to keep in mind that the street sweeping is really a courtesy to the residents of, you know, our taxpaying citizens. Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for your abutting public space. So if you push this out in the street and it's after the street sweepers have gone, I may not even know what time, you know, they may have came in your block and left. But I come and I see this trash and it's in front of your property, you're responsible for that, because commercial properties are 18 inches outside of the curb. If it's a commercial property, that is your responsibility, and you can get a fine for that starting at $150. Residential is to the curb. So if that trash is in that tree box space and it's in front of your property, you can be held responsible for that. But most of us as inspectors, we kind of pay attention to the street sweeping signs. We think twice about what we do with most inspectors. I'm pretty lenient because I try to look, you know, look above and beyond maybe why did they do this, they think this or think that. But one of the major problems is parking. Parking enforcement will come out and then they may have to go to another location. Sometimes they follow the sweeper if they can, if they have the manpower to do so. I'm not with parking, so I can't say, well, you should be over here or you should be over there. They're where they need to be. And it's kind of hard because I noticed that a lot of residents in this area, they won't move their cars. And then what happens is the tow truck will come and they will tow the cars to another location. But just even though you can go get your car from that location, you still won't have a ticket. And they'll you call the number, they take a picture of it, showing where you were and where you are, wherever they put your car. And then you'll be able to go to retrieve your car, but you still have a notice.
And can you remind us what is the preferred protocol to address cars that are blocking the street sweeper? And also, what cannot be technically moved in terms of a vehicle? Because I know sometimes we have vehicles that just are not able to be moved.
Well, if it's a tow truck, they have the right to move it if it's a street sweeping day.
Okay.
So they have every right to move the car.
Would this include inspector? I guess what I was trying to say, would this include vehicles that are covered? They can move covered vehicles?
I think they can. I can't answer. 99% of me thinks they can because
Let's follow up on that.
it shouldn't be there.
We got a couple cars in the neighborhood that the neighbors are benefiting from parking enforcement not touching the vehicle because they have the coverage. Like
Okay, well, you can still put it in 311.
Okay.
I wouldn't advise you to go lift anybody's cover up, but you can say this car is parked in front of And and it's covered, and you put it in 311, and their parking enforcement will come out. Cause they have parking enforcement folks that stay in the area as well.
Okay. And can you remind us, when we do need to get cars moved, specifically with street sweeping, is it, are residents calling 311 or who are they calling to get parking enforcement?
311, but if it's something that's really been an ongoing problem for you, I would suggest you email Johnny Gaither. He's the person who's over parking enforcement. He's the administrator there, and I will go as far as that.
Oops.
Yeah.
Those are all my non-lead season questions.
My comment about the parking is that it's not easy to find a parking space when you have to move it on.
I can only imagine, and me not being with parking enforcement, I can't really give you, any information on that, but, suggestion. I just tell folks, just read the signs. Wherever you, put your car, just read the signs.
Yeah, you have to just that
Because
there's-
people, a lot of times when they want the street sweeping, a lot of times it's not always thought out. They just want the streets swept, but they're not thinking about the inconvenience of it all that it may cause you. You got a lot of seniors who may, live in the community on the streets and trying to get their cars moved at a certain time, the stress of it all. So you got to be real careful when you want things, and you got to kind of think it out, before you like, okay, I want this, but you got to think, well, wait a minute, that means on Wednesday, I got to move my car to this side of the street. Oh my God, what day is it? You got to bring all that into play when you're thinking about stuff like that.
You said that sweep cleaning is a courtesy, so it's not something that the city has to do, and then you just didn't say that you want to request those.
No, people, what I'm saying is, you may have a street that doesn't have it. So you may have a meeting like this and you get a poll, you may have a petition going saying you want street sweeping. Yeah, but it's basically something that the city gives back to the taxpaying citizen. But a lot of times people don't want it on their street, because they don't want to have to worry about where they're going to park on Wednesday or Thursday. That's what I'm saying. But you have some people who want it. So that's why they have these petitions that go out and folks sign them, and the majority win in situations like that.
One, I do have a question about cleaning.
The leaf season program?
Yeah, because when they send out the map and stuff, they said area A or B or C, but they don't give a perimeter, like if it's Ward 5 or Ward 6 or which streets is gonna have the leaf collection. They just give like A, B, C, and I don't quite understand the mapping of when they're gonna be out.
Also,
Yeah, I
I don't have
understand.
that, I don't have that in front of me, so I may not be able to answer that's clear, but I'll do the best I can. Well, it starts with A. They have a certain section, and I always thought they had the map to show
What's
you.
A section?
A section is the beginning, say at the beginning of your ward. They may start at the top or they may start at the bottom and work their way across.
But it
Where
doesn't-
I'm working is, I've been assigned to Ward 3 for leaf season. And we started at the top of the ward, meaning Western Avenue is the beginning. And it's working its way all the way down to like Georgetown, like that. So I can't explain it to you any better than that. And they go from each section. There's the A section. You're supposed to spend maybe a week in a section. Depends on how big the ward
Yeah,
is
but
too.
wouldn't it be helpful to put out what?
It would
at least
be,
a street or something off
I have to look at the out.
off Capitol to Alcala Avenue or something like that.
Normally they do that. When you go online, you can actually see it. So, you can actually follow it as well.
Well, they've been sending it to the map, but they don't have no
And that comes from-
association with it.
And
It's
that
hard to
comes from-
understand.
I'm sorry,
It's hard to understand.
it's hard to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, now they almost finished with B, but they'll be going in C, but where was B and where is C?
Right.
Okay. What I'll do, I'll get some information to both of your ANC commissioners. And then we can see if we can get a better map. But normally I haven't paid attention to it because I have my map that I look at. So I get what you're saying. I can look at the map that I have and I can see all the streets. I can see where they've been, because you don't have access to that, but I do, I'm sorry to say. But I will get whatever information I can to make it better for you all to understand.
Yeah,
Because that comes from the street and alley cleaning division. See, DPW is broke up into so many different divisions, and it can get confusing, but I was under the impression that you would have a map where you could actually see the streets
no, they
and not
don't.
just the section.
No, they don't, because they ask you to break the leaves out on the curb.
Yeah, they'll tell you when they get ready to go into C, they'll say, okay, we're going into C. I need you to break your leaves out to the tree box space.
Yeah,
So
I
that's,
don't know.
that's kind of hard for you to understand, okay?
And that's the kind of thing that you should definitely come to me and ask me, call me or email me. But that's just the kind of thing that I can help you all with.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Inspector, because I'm online right now, and it's not.
And it's not-
User friendly.
No.
And it's not giving you that,
I can't pull it up right now myself, so,
okay.
yeah. So-
Okay, well, I'll get it, I'll get that back to you. Now, bear with me because I'm detailed. I'm not actually in inspector mode. I did this because I love these two commissioners. They come out and be guys, because I am detailed to lead season. But I will make sure, you get a map and Commissioner Salvador gets the map, and then they can figure out how to get it to you guys so you can really see how it's broken down. I will go to the powers to be at Street and Alley and ask them what can they, do to help you. And I will do that.
Thank you so much.
I have one other question. What do you do about, a house where they don't sweep up the leaves in front of their yard?
That's a little tricky. There is a fine on the books for that. There is a fine for it, but because we take care of it, you can't really issue, it's like double jeopardy, so to speak.
Well, fine,
We're
so
coming
what?
in-
I didn't hear the question.
If a person doesn't break their leaves, I can talk with the commissioner. Maybe we can find out who these folks are and encourage them or see what the problem is, why they're not doing it. Because at some point they should, they have to get them up. But, I can't actually issue a fine. It's like, it's there, but I can't touch that.
They can get a.
So I can give them, some information, some education, to say, this is what you need to do. We can do stuff like that. Because it is leaf season.
Yeah, but leaves can blow anyway, so it's just like my next door neighbor, she never raked her leaves. But even though I rake mine,
Right.
you get a strong wind, it'll blow them
Yeah,
on fire.
it's like a double jeopardy, yeah. So what I can do, like you have problems like that, we have literature that we can put out to kind of encourage people, like you gotta take responsibility. But some people hire landscapers to blow it out, Some people hire the land, but they can't get out and break, like that's too much. So they'll hire someone or get some child or, little kids in the neighborhood to come and just rake the leaves out for them so they can get it in the tree box space. So we can pick it up, and they also can bag it up, because we have a truck that if you say you miss it, you don't get your leaves out that particular week, and you want to rake them and bag them up, we have a truck that will come around and pick them up for you, so you don't have to take them to the school.
311.
It's called 311, and they
It's
look,
kind of, you walk down the street and get to this one house. And I have to be real careful not to slip on those.
Yeah,
leaves and
'cause when they
stuff.
get
Then
wet,
you go
they get
past
dangerous.
that area, and then the rest of the street is.
but whatever that house is, give it to your commissioner, and your commissioner can contact me, you don't want to do it, yourself. With me being on leaf season, I can't deal with it right now for you, but, pass it on to your commissioner, because, we are definitely patient.
Yes.
And I have cards, if you want to
Some street
email
from
me. I have my
street
cell
from
number, if you have any issues, you can call me, and I'll do, whatever I can.
The street they want you to cross that
Oh, okay, but you gotta come
they
back.
should go
out. I
in
gotta
paper
find
bag.
the address.
Yeah, they
Okay,
should go in
great.
paper bags.
Special days, they sell it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes. They should go in paper bags.
So can I get back to that parking thing, parking enforcement? Now, I used to complain about, since I live across the street from the school, people parking there. But even with myself, I didn't get a zone 5 this year because they went up tremendously. They want almost $100 for a zone fee. I remember starting off at $35, and now it's $100. So, you know, for me to pay $100 to park on the street in front of my door that I'm already paying taxes, I think it's ridiculous that DC residents, if you live on the street, you know, it was meant for DC residents to come home from work and be able to park. Now it's gotten to the thing where it's the residents are getting ticketed and badged and told for not having a zone sticker. Is there any way I can, maybe if the man have a constituent or see if she could lower the price for residents for zone?
That's where your commissioner comes in.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. I have 2 cars, and the first car I did pay $75 for a zone sticker. It went up from $35 to $75. So when I went to register my next car, it was $100. I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm gonna see a citizen, I'm paying $100, $175 just to park in front of my door. But not in front of my door.
But you can't get the park in front of your door anymore.
Yeah, that's out the question. But I said, boy, this is just crazy. It was invented to help the residents to be able to park. Now, every year or every 3 or 4 years, she's going up on it. And then parking enforcement, they marking your car, they write you a ticket, and you get a ticket and you live there to park in front of your house.
So that's where your A and P commissioner comes in.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. So I didn't get one.
Did you get the second one or were planning to get the second one? Was there a long time between you got the first one? I'm
No,
just curious if
No.
they gave you an extra fee for having a separate vehicle.
Well, I applied for one of my tags expires in June, and then the next one expires in July. So I went on and registered, renewed my tag for June, and it was $75. I was like, $75, it's a lot of money. And so I went on and registered, got the Ward 5 ticket. And then when I went to register the other car a month later, it was $100.
I'm wondering if they charge you extra.
It
Well, I
seems
think
like
it's
somebody
just
told
about-
me they charge you more for
For
a second
for
car.
another vehicle.
No, and so it's just ridiculous. So, I mean, I try to find park on Montella Avenue, whereas I don't have to have a zone. But it's ridiculous. I have to have a zone, because then they went up, that's,
Oh, because your block is, you need the zone sticker. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, so, and that's just, to go from $35 to $75, and then a second one, $100, really, Mayor?
All about-
That's exactly what kind of thing comes to me about that,
Yes.
because I might be able to find different things that will help. I might.
Yeah, but she needs to get it real.
And,
I mean, she's making all these bike lanes and taking up parking spaces like what she did on West Virginia Avenue. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You can't park, and then if you do park, you pay to park. You know, so I'm just having a
That's
You
okay.
good.
moment.
You
That's what we
You
here
ain't the
for.
only one saying.
But your A and C
It's all
commissioner
about voting too.
is who can help you with that.
Well, I'm ready, as far as this was that block. I'm just ready, you know, to do away with the whole zone part. Because to me, it doesn't make sense for the people to live in the ward to have to pay the park. Because I can't go up to Ward 6 and park. Because that's just designated for Ward 6 residents. Some of the places up there on Maryland Avenue, you can't even park there, period, if you don't have a Ward 6 sticker. It's just an all Ward 6 residents, so it's kind of like, it's a disadvantage for the other people that's living in another ward. I just think if you have one ward, you should be able to park in any ward without being penalized.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, but that's how it keeps certain folks out of the road, there's all ways of doing that kind of stuff. Was there any more questions for Inspector Garrett before we let her go? We get PD to speak.
On one
one more question. Is there any stipulations on dog poop? Cause I had a dog to poop right in front of my steps on the sidewalk and nobody picked it up.
I can, we can do education. There is a fine for it, but it's very, very hard to write. I am not MPD, and to walk up on someone and want to take a picture of the dog and the poop and the owner, it's not safe for us to do, but I do have some literature that, I can get out and, you know, because you are responsible for your dog poop. Your dog should be on a leash at all times. It is the law.
So if I was to get a picture, if I had the gut and the nerve enough to take a picture of somebody walking a dog without any, or pooping, and they don't pick it up, what do I do with the picture?
Well, there's nothing I can do with the picture because I didn't take it.
So what do I do with it?
We can
You-
definitely send it to.
You can send it to your A and C
And I'll
commissioner,
find the right person to send it to.
and then she can find the right person to
Yeah.
send it to. I can
That's
give her, I can get her the literature that we have, because we do have dog poop literature. And then also, what I can do is, do what we call an education blitz. And we'll walk through the neighborhood and just, put the, flyers on each person's, resident. At one time, when we were handwriting warnings, we would do warnings. But because everything is in the tablet, I can't issue a warning unless I have a picture and a person to, you know, give the violation to. You know, when you get automated, things change. But when we were handwriting them, I could just write a warning, mail it to your house and say, you know, this is a warning because this was your dog that did this, and we didn't have to have a picture. But we just give the education material. So what I can do is in the neighborhood, and the best time to do it when the weather changes is, do an education blitz. But that's what we do, we educate and let you know you are responsible for cleaning up behind your dog.
I'm thinking.
And I can get, I can send you, I can bring you some, dog literature. I can do that.
Thanks.
Is that it? You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I just want to say, like, you work very hard. You literally
Thank
had
you.
guns pulled out on you. You had people run up on you just to have our neighborhood be a smidge cleaner. And I just want to say thank you for getting up,
Oh, my God. I
putting your boots
appreciate
on,
that. It
and
has been
coming out
rough.
this way, because I know we had a lot. I
It
know we
has
have a
been
chain over here, but we appreciate your presence.
Yeah,
I
and
just wanna say
I'm
that.
trying, I'm trying to make it better, you know. And, I even went through, I didn't tell you this, but I went through Rom. And, cause the sweeper goes there and I talked to the guys, I was like, look, I need you guys to help me. I gave them bags, I gave them a broom,
Oh, really?
a rake, even gave them my picker and said, help me, I need your help. So, I don't know how much good it did, but I let them know what my job is and, you know, what I'm really trying to do. And my job is to help to keep this place clean, the trash, you know, just pick it up, just, you know. We can't put litter cans, too many litter cans in residential areas. It has to be a certain amount of, commercial properties, because if you put them in residential areas, then the residents will start using it, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But, I have my card.
Well, I just wanted to say, y'all are doing an awesome job. with
Thank you. I
alley
really
cleaning,
appreciate
because I've been calling for alley cleaning, and y'all right on point,
Yes.
y'all been cleaning the
I
alley.
work very well with, street and alley. When I call, they come, they really do. They have helped me a lot and, try to get it done before the 28 days. I try to do everything I can to help you guys, but I will admit, I had a meltdown, because of the shooting. I was in the midst of 2 shootings in Ward 5, and I tell you, it's been rough, but, God's grace, I'm still here. And I'm gonna keep trying to do what I can do to help you guys. Your commissioners are awesome. Go to them. They can get to me. I'm gonna leave my cards. I have literature, but I must go because I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm so sorry that you in the midst of.
Yes.
gunfire.
Yes, but God is good.
Yeah.
The gate for the swing open, and then the bottom of it's got holes, so that's to have the field there. I called it in, and they were supposed to replace the gate, fix the gate, and put a new can in there, but that hasn't happened. I called it in, they were supposed to fix the gate in September.
Get the service request from her, so you could.
Oh,
Did you get a number? Did you get it?
I got a service report
Yeah.
on it, but they came out and they simply said that they fixed it, but the trash can has got holes at the bottom, so people put trash in it and get breakfast.
Oh, you weren't, is that your trash can?
It's right.
Or public litter can? Okay,
Yeah, I put it in front because the gate was open.
okay,
A lot of times, when they come to dump the trash, they swing it open, they
Okay.
just hit your car.
okay.
It's right-
Send me a, email on, and I'll make sure it gets to,
Yeah.
Mr. Stanback.
It's right there in front of the school.
We just need the- we just
Okay,
need
but
the
I-
service.
Yeah, I need the service request number and the
Well, I
email.
can make another one, but I.
No, don't do another one, they have it.
Well, they cut, simply going closed it out, said that they fixed it, but really they. didn't.
Oh, it's not, okay, then put another one in.
It's still broke.
Okay.
And the trash can needs to be replaced, if it's got holes at the bottom.
Okay,
T-shirt.
Thank you, sir.
all right, you're welcome.
So.
So stay in touch.
Yeah, about to,
Okay.
I mean, it's right there in front of the
Right,
school.
good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy
All right,
holidays.
thank you.
you
Take
for
care.
coming.
good, produce MPD commissioner.
Thank you. This is Officer Goldston. Thank you, Sergeant Goldston. Thank you so much for coming and speaking with us. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Justin Goldston. Not new to the 5th District or MPD, but I am new to this area. For the past year and a half, I've been up in the Brooklyn, Edgewood, Eckington area, supervising up there, and recently was transferred down to PSA 507, which primarily serves Carver, Langston, the areas north and south of Benning Road, 8th of 8th, the communities around there or prior to the bridge. But Sergeant Brianna Taylor, I believe anybody who was here for the last meeting, she's primarily assigned to Trinidad, Ivy City neighborhoods, but we work in tandem, and that it's all included in the same area. So anything that she can address, I can address as well. I wanted to come to this meeting to introduce myself, try to hit the ground running here, and get a feel for you guys, pass out my contact information. You can contact me directly. It doesn't have to be just a generalized, request through MPD or the watch commander. I'm pretty receptive. I'll get back to you with what we can do, what we can't do, what I'll try to do. Your concerns, anything you can run by me. That I'm here now with you guys. Every community meeting I've gone to before, the community has kind of expressed reluctance to me, want to call the police a lot of times, whether it be they don't want to draw the attention in their neighborhood, or don't want to be seen speaking with the police for whatever reason, or just don't want to bother. And I just want to express the manpower decisions that are made come from above my head, but they are all data-driven decisions, and we track calls for service. If you call the police, you can tell the call takers, hey, I don't want to talk to the police. I just want to let you know, hey, the 1200 block of ROM, this is going on. Send an officer through here, and that's what we'll do. Or if you can text 311 and do the same thing. You can remain anonymous and still get police service. Every call for service gets answered. I can't tell you that they get answered in as timely a manner as we would prefer sometimes, but they do get answered. That's how we track where the manpower should be delegated. So please don't let not wanting to be seen speaking with the police get in the way of calling the police if that's what you think you should do. In the future, I'd like to attend these meetings, and when I get a feel for which ANCs are designated to which areas, I'll be sure to bring some pretty detailed crime statistics for you that we can discuss. I know everybody's probably heard about the shooting at the KIPP school that happened a few days ago that involved a sophomore. That's still an ongoing investigation. As far as I know, they've recovered the vehicle that was involved. So hopefully something positive turns out of that as far as a case closure. In the past 30 days, we did have a homicide 50 block of F Street Northeast. That was police responded. There was an adult male, 31 years of age, that was found with a gunshot wound inside of an apartment. He was transported to the hospital and succumbed to his injuries, and that is also an ongoing investigation as far as that goes as well. In terms of the Carver, Langston, Benning Road area, there's no other crime statistics that we are experiencing as far as a trend. Sound of gunshots, carjackings, robberies are all down, whatever that may mean to you over the past 30 days, but still up over the year. But that's what we're experiencing right now. But I'm 100% going to leave my contact information. The commissioners already have it. Feel free to contact me about anything. If there's not a question I can get answered for you today, I can get an answer for you tomorrow. I can run it up the chain. I can step outside and call the commander right now if it's something that's urgent. But I just wanted to come here and introduce myself. And if you guys had any questions for me or something you'd like to see as far as our police presence that I can assist with, I would be happy to do that. So.
Was the Kent school shooting a random shooting?
So if you mean targeted, they do believe it was targeted. They do believe it spans from a previous incident involving some neighborhood issues.
Was it a student at that school?
The victim was a student at the school, so they have staggered dismissals. They have 3 separate dismissals, and now in response to that, we have 3 officers that are dedicated to be at the KIPP schools for all 3 dismissals now. We had police presence in an overtime capacity before, but now it's stepped up to mandatory. So.
Question, with the juveniles getting carjacked, why is it repeatedly like they get out of jail or wherever they take them to? And the same folks are carjacking and robbing again. Who's releasing, is the judge in personal recognizance, or is it the police department doesn't have enough on them to hold juveniles?
Well, I certainly don't want to do any finger pointing because I don't think there's any one entity that's to blame for that. But I can tell you when a juvenile is locked up for a serious felony Part 1 offense, their case is presented to the Office of the Attorney General, who makes a decision as to what occurs. Is there a detention hearing? Are they released to their parents? Is there going to be a supervised release? Are they going to have to come back for a follow up with DYRS? There's a lot that goes into that, and I don't want to say it's MPD's blame. I don't want to say it's the Attorney General's blame. It's probably a culmination of everything. To be honest with you.
I understand, but what I can't understand is the same people is doing the same thing, and then when they end up killing somebody, then it's kind of like, and then it's the blame game. Well, the officer said, the police department said, well, this person has been carjacked for 4 times, and we lock them up, but it's up to the court system to, further prosecute. I just wish I could see, because it's frightening. Me being a senior citizen, and I'm scared to go out at night. I try to go to the grocery store during the daytime because I drive a sports car. So I'm afraid of getting carjacked, and I'm like, it seems like it just every day it happens. People are getting carjacked, they're gun pulled, they're taking the kids in the car, you got your pet in the car. And it's just ridiculous, it's kind of like you just being held hostage. I'm just wondering if the mayor or the chief of police, if they're doing something to really bring down this carjacking among youth, because they kids taking people's cars. What is being done to combat against it?
So you all are well aware that the Chief Smith's been confirmed now, and I think now she's starting to roll out some of her personalized strategies. I don't know if anybody was in attendance last Friday at Starburst Plaza. She announced the Atlas program. I don't know if anybody, it's nowhere on Google, for whatever reason, I tried to find it, but 20 officers per day are dedicated to areas that are experiencing crime trends. And they are to be in those areas for community interaction, not just jump out and take people to jail for basic level things. But that also brings me full circle back to calling the police. We need records of things that are going on in the community that you do or do not want to report, so that we can get that manpower dedicated to the 5th district and your ANC specifically, if that's what you wanted. She's also rolling out in February. It's called the Real Time Crime Center. It's a centralized location that's going to be staffed with detectives and sergeants that are going to be utilizing technology to try to assist with Part 1 felony offenses that occur on the street. That means the days of vehicle pursuits are over. You know, we're not chasing vehicles because it's dangerous for the community and for a variety of other reasons, but crime cameras, utilizing the helicopter, over the summer, they had a pilot program to try to reduce carjackings that produced a lot of apprehensions and vehicle recoveries that she's trying to roll out in a citywide fashion. And I hope that produces some positive results. But again, I don't know what's to blame. I think it's a flaw in the system overall that we need to address with some programs that aren't specifically law enforcement related that we can contribute to that as well. But it is scary to see what's going on in the juvenile community as far as violent crime is concerned. I agree with you there. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about certain cars that are that we were doing there's not on the cars. Do you know what attracts them to the block and why they?
You're talking about vehicles that we've been recovering in the same area
That
repeatedly?
have been stolen and then abandoned, and then the officer finds it and inspector becomes auto inspector.
We've had a couple of instances of officers just showing up at our door and saying, hey, do you know anything about this car that's been parked here? It's a stolen car.
Sure. So I don't know what specifically makes them targets, but they do target specific areas. Oklahoma Avenue is one of them. Morse, there's a Dakota crossing spot. I don't know whether those are one-way areas that are kind of hard to get into, easy to get out of, but it seems like there is, maybe it's relative to a location that they walk to in order to exit the area. But we are aware of the dump locations and when they change. I couldn't speak to one specific reason as to why they occur.
Like they're not being stolen from Moore's.
That's where they're being left.
That's where
Right,
they're being left.
right.
It's nice cars, it's not such nice cars, it's like a combination of cars, but I don't know. I just do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I wish I did know. That would probably help us out too.
Do they put tickets on them? Cause I noticed the cars could be parked there for days and stuff.
So
They
usually
may
these
not,
cars
and
are
they don't
just,
put no ticket on.
Yeah.
The ticket people, the ticket people that target me, the residents, look like if they would come by and zone park it and put a ticket on it, they would know that it's been stolen before they stole it, and then maybe they could get the tow truck and tow them instead of towing the resident. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be, but it's just that some of the ticket writers, they don't go, they know what the bad areas are. So they don't go there. They'll come and they'll harass the residents for not having a zone. But if they see a stolen car, because I've had that to happen even on Neal Street. It was a couple of stolen cars and I had to call them in to say, hey, look, this car has been parked here for at least 4 days. Illegal, really, because it didn't have a zone on it. And you would think one of the ticket writers would at least come and put a ticket on it. So maybe they could call and get towed. They don't even ticket it.
So just to touch on that, DDOT only has so many ticket writers, parking enforcement enforcers available for AMC 5D, which is stop 45. And traditionally in Trinidad, they have only been coming out to Trinidad at like 2 to 4 in the morning when they're seeing less apprehension for them doing their job. So if at those hours of the night, those vehicles are not there, they're not going to see them. But if the vehicles are only there during the day, it's not likely that someone's going to put a ticket on it until a neighbor does due diligence to go out and have that done. So if you're recognizing vehicles that are typically not on your block, that have fake Maryland tags, we get a lot of those in Trinidad, Virginia plates, and they've been sitting there for a while, that really falls on the neighbor to do their active work to get that vehicle ticketed, because DDOT doesn't have enough people to get that done on their own.
That DDOT is what, the district government, the ticket writers?
That's Department of Transportation.
So I thought they work for DC government, they work for Department of Transportation.
DDOT, DC Department of Transportation.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I think they work for DC government, because I know.
It's DC government, it's their own agency.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't call because, and I'm gonna tell you why, and maybe I'll see like Yeah, I'm just saying. But I don't call because I say, hell, they write me tickets, and they quick to write me tickets, so I don't call.
And that happens a lot with a lot of neighbors here in Trinidad, because the ticket writers will recognize a car they've seen multiple times compared to one that might be there just,
So,
yeah. So a lot of we get a lot of vehicles dumped throughout Trinidad, in PSA 506, in different alleys, different parts, ugly or, new, doesn't matter what they are, but, the neighborhood tends to be a dumping ground for vehicles. But it's gotten a smidge better, even though we do see carjacks and stuff in the news. We have less vehicles getting dumped here than we had maybe in the last 4 years. For some reason, it was just like, this is a spot, this is a magnet for car dumping, but it slowed down just a bit, just not a lot, but just a bit.
Well, please, if there's a vehicle out there that looks suspicious that you think it might be, so please call it so we can get it out of there. I mean, so it can't continue to be used for whatever it's being used for, at least. Absolutely.
And then the other thing I wanted to add is that the Department of Morris also has a women's shelter for new moms. And sometimes there are altercations that happen, between a woman and a partner, or I don't know, last night, I was one time getting to a house at like 3 a.m. I confronted it up. We don't know who it is or who they are, but at 3 a.m. they tried to aggressively rang the bell a few times, tried to put random votes in our keypad. And I mean, I just can share the video.
We have footage of it.
But I think just having regular surveillance on that block, especially in March, is kind of when it goes down. Mothers are always out with their strollers and then with their partner, and they're drinking, and it can get back sometimes. So, things like curiosity.
Well, let me say, I love that you have a camera, first of all. I think the cameras are the best things we have going right now. And if I could have an officer sit in your block all the time, or anybody's block that wanted, I would, I promise you. You're gonna see me out a little bit too. A lot, I'm sorry. You're gonna see me out because I don't, like the supervisor from the office, I like to be out in the community, and I'll be at these community meetings as well, but, you said the 1200 block of Morris?
Yeah, that women's shelter address is spoken.
yeah, it's
Right.
across from the
On- on
playground. Across from the playground.
Did you call
Yeah,
911? Did you call 911?
I mean, besides the women's shelter.
But did you call them? I recommend calling either way. Yeah, no, because that's how they get the data that shows, especially in the winter, more domestic assault picks up in this area. So they need to get that data for them to eventually bring in manpower to surveillance the block.
Yeah, and the shooting that happened right outside our house, our condo was last year, 2022, September 29th, and then 3 weeks later, another shooting happened on more than Trinidad, and I think that's when we died on the top. So the shooting has not been that much of a concern, but
No, 100%.
and I'm happy to email you the video footage of the person who's trying to break in. Or I don't know if she's trying to break in or help, or she's escaping from a situation where she was being, where she was unsafe.
Sure. No, I'd love to take a look at it. What I was gonna say here. If anything occurs that you feel is out of the ordinary that we should at least know about, please give us a call so we do know about it. Like I said, a lot of the major manpower issues are come way above my head, but I talk to these officers before they go on the street. I talk to them while they're on the street, and we can pass this information along at the very least. And I'd much prefer to have an officer drive through your block a couple times than something worse to happen and us talk about it at the next meeting. That would be embarrassing. So.
I think they will come to your house in the neighborhood report. Is that right?
Yep.
They will come to the house in the neighborhood report and the right of get on the other things.
And the best number to call for something like this would be 311.
I would still call 911. They divert calls based off of priority, but I'd still call 911.
Even though it's like next morning, several hours later, the person's on there.
Absolutely.
Your quality of life is being affected.
Sure would. Before I leave that. And like I said, please, get in touch with me. If email is your thing, if phone calls are your thing, I'll give you both of those. I just want to know what's going on down here, what you guys feel about what's going on down here, so.
I have a situation, I was gonna bring this up to the commander today, but I didn't get a chance to call him. In West Trinidad, technically, the PSA, in that corner divided between 501, I think, 506 and, no, 506 and 501. And, in West Trinidad, we're having an issue of keeping Tom going through windows in that part of
Is
the.
that around Capo Avenue?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and my block captain, he doesn't have a good relationship with you all because he has a lot of opinions with MTV, but he's very active in West Trinidad, and I appreciate it as a neighbor whole entirely. He is literally approached officers in the area and say, that guy over there, he's looking through windows. Can you please have him stop? And that's happened multiple times and the officers never do anything. This is why I want to escalate it to the commander. What is the proper protocol in a peeping Tom situation? If per se you can't detain that person, but you do have photos or videos of them doing that act, what would you recommend in that kind of situation for a resident to address that concern?
Well, I'm sorry that he's getting that kind of response, because typically our response would be, we talk to somebody who's witnessed somebody looking into private property, we would at least stop them and do a criminal history check on them, see if they're okay, see if they're, are they under the influence, what have you. But as far as somebody entering your property, that's technically unlawful entry. If they're not welcome there, they've been informed to leave, they refuse to leave, that's unlawful entry. So that, I mean, that's a criminal offense. It's a misdemeanor. It doesn't have to be moved forward if just you want us to make contact with the person, get them off your property. But technically, if it's becoming a repetitive problem, that's something that we could address of a criminal nature. But that's it. By no means should officers just brush it off and not do anything about it if that's what he's experiencing.
It seems like by the time he gets to an officer, either the perpetrator has left the scene,
Sure.
or again, this neighbor he doesn't have a personal record with the 5th district, but I do know the 5th district knows him. And they might not take him as seriously as the next person just because how overly passionate he is at times. So I don't want to say that he doesn't deserve the respect, but I can understand sometimes us as neighbors, we get, very riled up, and, at times we need to calm us down first before we can actually get to the situation. So I don't know if that's happened every time when he approaches MTV, but it does draw a concern to me when he is an advocate for those blocks out that way, and residents have addressed those concerns to him, and he's addressed those concerns to me. So I guess in this kind of situation, we have to detain the individual to really get.
I mean, there's kind of a gray area. There's nothing illegal per se of somebody coming onto somebody else's property.
Right.
But if it's a repetitive problem and you feel as if they're posing a danger to you, then it's something we need to address. But yeah, we would stop somebody in that instance, and at least to determine what's going on.
Okay. I'm worried that he's gonna be a vigilante and try to take care of the situation himself. And he's pretty much told me he's chased them down multiple times. So I'm just worried for his personal safety. I guess I'll address the commander.
Well, I hope that nobody's personal opinions about MPD or emotions about law enforcement get in the way of contacting us about these things, just to at least make us aware of it, because you guys still deserve, the kind of police response that you would like to have. So, what I mean? And please, like I said, bring these, if anybody's experiencing an incident where they call the police and an officer should have responded and acted in a way that they, is not our protocol, please make that me aware of that. I'm the supervisor in that area, and I'll bring that to whoever's attention I need to, or address it in roll call. And I mean, it's not acceptable for somebody to brush off a legitimate concern.
I think the last time he had an individual in the car with him, I think it was a ride along, so he couldn't properly address the situation with that officer at least at the time. But I know here in the neighborhood, a lot of us as neighbors, we tend to see things in real time, but it's very hard to get the proper attention to those matters, because the officers are seeing it in real time. Okay, so we do that on a regular basis, whether it's safety concerns, drug dealing, what have you, you know. So I think I'm working with the fifth district to do this, but there needs to be like an education piece that we can kind of come together now. We're living in the 20s, we're not living in the 90s anymore. So we need to figure out how to best address some of our concerns, because the old school method isn't working sometimes. So so welcome to this end of the district.
thank
I don't know what you did to go from 04 to 07. It's not, you know, that's not an easy transfer, but we appreciate your presence on this end.
But just to piggyback on what you were saying, I had an incident that happened a month ago. Some of the young people that go to the school banged on my door and ran, and my camera picked them up. And so I took it over to the school, and I wanted the principal to address it. And she said, well, I had to call the police. So she said, in the morning, just call the police, bring them over to the school and all that. Because the school police said it's out of his jurisdiction, nothing they could do. And so when I did just that in the morning, I called the police, and they came out, and the officer, I showed him the video, where the guy came over there, was banging at my door, I got slammed in. And the officer seemed like he just wanted to dish me off and saying, well, maybe he was looking for somebody. Do anybody in the house know him? I said, well, I have 2 grandsons, but the grandson, he wasn't looking for them, because why is he banging on the door and running? And so some other little guys was across the street looking, they running too, and it seemed like the officer didn't want to do anything. So he said, well, that's really not a police matter. I was like, vandalizing my property? Why is it not? So I said, I'm only going by what the school principal told me to do, is to call the police, bring the police over to the school, because they can't give me, the boy did go here, but without the police present, they could not do anything. So we came over to the school, we went in there, and it's like the police was, for the boy, I was wondering, is this your kid or something? He was trying to dish it off and saying, well, I don't see where he was doing wrong. Well, if he was coming to visit somebody, why did he kick the door and bang the door and run?
Where you live at, you can be all up in the mix of everything.
No, I was right across the street.
I know. Those matters, he can't help you.
I know, but
But
what I
no,
was
she
saying,
can though.
no, what I was saying, when I did get help, because he kept asking me for the file a report.
Right.
I didn't go, why wouldn't I?
No, that's what I'm saying.
He didn't want to take a report.
Yeah.
Because he was saying, well, you know, maybe that's, but if I would have, like I told him, if I would have went out there with a baseball bat and I would have put a hurt on him, then I would have had news reporters and they would have came and locked me up, and the parents would be saying, oh, they good kids and they go to school and they get good grades and all of that. But eventually, when he came over to the school, she said she couldn't show me the name of the person. You know, they ID'd them at the school. And she said she can't show me who it is, but she turned the computer around and showed the officer. He nodded his head. So I suspected that this is a troubled youth that he had contact with. So then he finally said, okay, he would do a report, gave me his card, put a report number on it. All I wanted him to do was go around there and maybe talk to the parent or something, to scare tactic or something. And so it worked. I don't know what happened, but the boy, he never came back to my house banging at the door. And so,
touching on that, is MPD doing more stuff like that? Do you see MPD doing more stuff like that with our youth, like these house visits?
Yes,
Okay.
in fact, CSOSA comes with us a lot to go on house visits.
Okay.
Obviously, those are the youths that are already in the system, and adults that are already in the system, but they kind of dialed back in recent years on the SRO program, having us directly involved in the schools, but I think that's coming back a little bit. But yeah, we are actually doing a little bit more house checks.
What does the house check usually look like from your experience?
Us knocking on the door, communicating with the parents and the juvenile directly.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing? Where you been? How's school? Kind of thing. Having a conversation. It's not really an accusatory kind of, parole officer type of interaction, but,
If the youth is not there, is MPD going out the way to find them or?
so if they haven't been officially reported missing, but if they're in the system, they're supposed to be somewhere, yes.
Okay.
But normally it's just it's supposed to be a conversation that we have. We spend a couple hours at the beginning of those tours, especially when CISOs comes and visits us. So, yeah, but normally it's just a casual interaction.
And in regards to the fifth district sergeant, have you seen that happen more often, or he's I guess, have you seen more interaction with youth that hasn't particularly committed a crime back in that?
As the summer comes to an end and going back to school, yes, I think we have. This commander seems to be a lot more community organization oriented, trying to get officers out to the community. So I do, directly, I'm not involved in a lot of that.
Yeah.
Being in patrol, but I feel like we are trending in that direction. Hopefully it bears a positive result. So.
Any other questions for the sergeant?
I don't have a ton of cards with me. I can next time, but can the commission?
Yeah,
you-
just contact me and I'll get you, sergeant's information. Sure, absolutely. I don't think I have your phone. I just have your, so give me, I just have your.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Don't hesitate to email. Yep,
Don't sit down.
I will.
No, but I'm looking at all the stuff that you have to carry on.
Oh,
What is it all?
do you want to take any of it?
Is it heavy?
Some of it is, but I don't have to use them.
And
very
you get
often.
used to carrying.
Yes. I think it makes me light on my feet, so.
I'm just sitting here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, I can't wait to take it all. All right, thank you all.
Thank you. Yes, we were able.
Hi, everybody. So that was our 2 guest speakers, and thank you so much for being with us, for listening. So our next public meeting for ANC 5D is January 8th at 7 o'clock, and everyone should have the Zoom link if you have my newsletter. But I'll also send it out like a couple days beforehand. And our next meeting here at Joe Cole, which will always be hybrid and always will have interpretation of ASL, will be January 22nd because the first Monday is New Year's Day. So we're going to have skip to January 22nd, but otherwise than that, every single month from here until, besides January, until December 2024, it's the first Monday of the month from 5:45 to 7:30. So I hope you can make it here or tune in on Zoom or watch us later. And thanks so much for coming, everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you.